If we actually take a close look and examination of the Skywalker saga, it's pretty safe to say that by far, one of the fan-favorite characters of the Skywalker saga is no other than Anakin himself, portrayed by Hayden Christensen from the prequel trilogy by creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they are now currently in a phase of desperation and damage control, and they're really trying to pick up the pieces to really bring things together in order to really reunite the fans and to really make Star Wars as successful as possible. You know, we do know that Bob Iger, the previous Disney CEO, which is helping out the current CEO right now, Bob Chapek, said at the premiere of Episode 9 that they are now just discovering exactly what kind of potential they really have with the future of Star Wars and what it really could entail. Now, when we go ahead and take a look at Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, we do know that she had a lot to, play with the Star Wars universe that ultimately led to a lot of negative impacts on the Star Wars fandom. You know, a lot of fans were very much displeased with The Last Jedi, and even more so, I would say, with The Rise of Skywalker, given exactly how much she really interrupted by deleting so many scenes and putting new scenes in and just going back and forth and having more creative differences on and off throughout 2018 and 2019. Well, what's really intriguing all has to do with actor Hayden Christensen. Now, Hayden Christensen, mind you, very well, done actor, I believe, at least in my opinion. I think that a lot of people out there don't really realize that he does have a lot of potential. I mean, I can understand that, yes, he had some wacky dialogue in the prequel trilogy. He really wasn't the best actor of all time out there, and he could have been better in the prequels, let's just be true. But when we look at everything related to The Rise of Skywalker, this is where things begin to get very intriguing, is that now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are now fully embraced with their new Star Wars universe, as well as their new Star Wars trilogy of movies that will deliver a brand new mythology to Star Wars fans around the world. Now, it's explained that both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are developing many ways to reunite the Star Wars fans around the world in order to create a better future for the franchise. However, Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy is still in charge of the Leslie Headland Star Wars TV series, which will offer a brand new take on Star Wars that the fans may disagree with. As far as actor Hayden Christensen goes, behind the scenes, it's described that for Episode 9, during production, Kathleen Kennedy had many problems with Hayden's performance as Anakin Skywalker in the last saga film. It's best described that Hayden's entrance into the sequel trilogy was initiated by both J.J. Abrams and George Lucas well before the reshoots ever started, and that they were on a roll with the Anakin Skywalker sequences in the movie that were going to give fans a different version of Anakin on the big screen. So mind you, this is something that we got to actually never see in the actual theater on the big screen for the very last Skywalker saga movie. Very big missed opportunity. Now, throughout the months, Kathleen Kennedy eventually fired and canceled actor Hayden Christensen from the set of Episode 9 and only agreed to use a piece of dialogue from one of his scenes for the epic battle over Exegol. So, you guys may not actually realize, but that line of dialogue that Hayden actually had at the very end of Episode 9 was actually taken from an original scene that he was a part of in one of the original cuts of Episode 9 before he was actually canceled ultimately from the movie. And honestly, it really is, I think, very upsetting to a lot of fans out there, the fact that they did not get to see Anakin for what would have been the last time on the big screen, right? Now, moving on, it's noted that Hayden Christensen had done other scenes as well, even for the first phase of reshoots, to which Kathleen Kennedy was still very unimpressed with his line of work in the movie. Kathleen Kennedy wanted to move away from the Skywalkers almost entirely later in production and figured that the film would be a bigger success if they just focused on Rey being the newest Skywalker by legend. Now, this was an idea that J.J. Abrams did not agree with, and that the title of The Rise of Skywalker originally had something to do with both Ben Solo, Anakin, and Luke that was eventually changed to just being about Rey. Let's stop right here for a second. About that title, we do know that Kathleen Kennedy is the very person who chose the title of the film. Let's not forget about that. Is that Kathleen Kennedy was the very person to choose the title The Rise of Skywalker to draw people into the theater seats, right? And a lot of people were very much unimpressed with that. A lot of people felt betrayed over that. And I understand that because, let's face it, you know, you had the name Skywalker slapped on the movie. You figured it had to do with Anakin, Ben Solo, or maybe even Luke at the very minimum, right? But in reality, it was ultimately changed to just having to do with Rey becoming the Skywalker by legend, or by choice, if you will, right? So, I think it was really wrong for Kathleen Kennedy to let go of Hayden. You can only imagine exactly what kind of potential he would have had on the big screen and what it really would have offered him within the Star Wars community. I think that it would have been his redemption, if you will, as an actor. I believe it would have been. To be honest with you, I think it really would have been a redemption for him as an actor, to really give him another shot to show the fans that he can do somewhat better other than the dialogue that he was given for the prequel trilogy movies. Now, moving beyond that, alright, after Kennedy fired Hayden Christensen, Christensen felt it was necessary to speak with J.J. Abrams and to have J.J. try to convince Kennedy to keep Hayden on board of the Star Wars film. However, Kennedy made up her mind and wanted nothing to do with Anakin in the movie. This was a big problem for Lucasfilm at the time, since many creators were having problems with the massive changes being put in by Kennedy that made the production a big mess. Now, at one point in time, there was an entire ending sequence set up with Anakin portrayed by Hayden Christensen at one point in time that was going to truly give the fans what they wanted to see on the big screen. So let me stop right here for a second again, is that here we have Kathleen Kennedy in a scenario where she felt that the Skywalkers were not relevant, that you had to move away from them and completely just ignore them from this movie, and that they did not deserve to have the limelight that they needed. Now, I can understand that from some form of, you know, a level here, because after all, right? This is the sequel trilogy. They introduced new characters in the very beginning. I understand you gotta focus on them. But if you're gonna do that, don't call it the Skywalker saga and marketing then. I mean, I know it is the Skywalker saga. But if you're gonna make the marketing as extreme as that with the final film, you know, the Skywalker saga ends, and meanwhile it had little to nothing to do with the actual Skywalkers per se that people know and love. You know, it kind of just was a little misplaced, in my opinion, when it came to the marketing. That's just how I saw things. You know, we do know that Kathleen Kennedy played a very large role in the failure of the marketing of Episode 9. In fact, we were supposed to have a trailer as early as December of 2018, right around Christmas, mind you. That was all delayed because of reshoots, and they delayed the trailer all the way, really the teaser, I must say, until April of 2019 at Star Wars Celebration. It wasn't until August of 2019 is when we got that D23 teaser, and then October of 2019 when we got the actual full-length trailer. So you could see how the marketing was all shifted there. Everything was done within just 1 year. Now, with that being said, of course, moving past this, alright, it's also described that Hayden Christensen eventually got more roles within the Star Wars world after being fired from Episode 9, and that he is now going to take part in multiple Disney Plus projects in the form of television for the fans to witness. Kathleen Kennedy ultimately fired Christensen since he believed it had too many prequel vibes in the latest Star Wars film that would have brought flashbacks to the prequel trilogy of fans going against the movies. Now, where her deleting Anakin actually did just that in the long run. So, Kathleen Kennedy actually went into this thinking that this would have actually saved the film by taking Anakin out of the movie, preventing those prequel trilogy vibes, and preventing those flashbacks of the failures of Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Because a lot of fans did not like that. Let's not lie about that, right? I still think that the prequels are more Star Wars than the sequel trilogy will ever be. That's just how I see things. And Kathleen Kennedy's input on Star Wars is just so misplaced. You know, the fact that she took Anakin out of there, it just shows that she doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't know what Star Wars is all about. Anakin is the true chosen one. He should have been the limelight in this actual movie. So yeah, guys, I mean, you know, like I've said before in the past, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.